Something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me, sometimes you just simply have to go through with it. Consequences be damned. And well, I really don't have any logical reasons to say no. At least not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice again once sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. For the mansion and through Anslem, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit the city proper, I asked to be dropped off in a bid them good night. I thought it's best that I didn't stay too long in confined spaces with either Mrs. or Mr. Wright. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Goddamn bugs. Would have. Shouldn't have. Won't. I assure them that my place isn't far off, and that I have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive, as is sleep. I lie awake, thinking of what I saw in that mansion, of who I saw. If it's so much as a single whisper from her... Ugh. If it's so much as a single whisper of her hair, I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens. It makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights, I have trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning when fatigue has already let me rest that I'm reminding of what terrifies me so. Save? In my restless dreams, I see that mirror. The one in the study. And in it, I see her. I see them. Lorraine and Hannah. With no clothes and hair slightly obscuring their boobs. Hannah and Lorraine.
Oh, pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work. She'll work herself to death.
See, she doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk among themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, to themselves. 2 heads, 1 body. A horrible mockery of these women, as if they were one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
Well, when they say a person has a hard time telling if when they're in a dream, it was true often enough. Even with this bizarre sight, even with the obvious implications that this isn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Though they speak into each other's ear, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots worming their way into my skull. It's only then that they take notice of my presence. Fuck that! Eyes turn towards me and I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etch on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Have you been looking at us? Spying?
This is very unsettling.
Oh, scandalous. Such a naughty gal.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
Maybe.
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
My breath hitches as I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me, screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across its surface.
Do not lie! We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride!
They look livid. And when it looks like they would lunge, I wake. Oh my days, that is unsettling. Ugh. Feeling like the wind has been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleading as punch. As pleased as punch, pleading as punch. Jesus fucking Christ. She is the overlady of the cats, queen of despair, destruction of nice furniture. And no, I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare, but I can't even remember what it was about. I can. Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
Content purr comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots towards the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving into the mansion today. So what day is this? I didn't even take stock of what day it was. I think it was like another 2-day jump, it seems. I don't think their paperwork is officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetched to think that they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them always find a way to get what they want after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party. But only if you behave like a proper lady.
He barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. Place is already busy as soon as I get here. The foreman, one that I've recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest.
Understandable.
He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
Don't know why. She stops looking at the upper landing where Mr. Wright comes through with 2 other movers and a mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it.
Guess you keep looking at yourself because you're so...
If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see our reflection in the bloody thing. And I look away, not wishing to risk anything. If I see Lorraine's image in the mirror now, I wouldn't know what I'd do. I don't have the luxury of privacy right now, and I'm not going to break down in front of all these people. Mrs. Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's attics as they take the mirror out of here. He's back at it again soon enough, pointing the men here and there. I'd say he's the man with the plan, but it sort of interferes with the layout and design that we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out, but...
It's better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That it is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told you so, once he slips up.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
Not like... It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss unless he changes it, unless what he changes is actually crucial.
It happens often enough when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
Up, higher. Come on now.
Still, you could be at least a bit less pushy about
Careful
things.
now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African Blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It's surprising how hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. With the both of them, well, the both of them are, actually. It's refreshing to have them participate despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Pantry, Buttercup. Careful, that's Emma No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
And Napoleon Abueva. He really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Mrs. Wright and the butler look like they're used to it by now. But the rest of us, well...
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your suits upstairs? Let your Hans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
Oh god, I love you, Johannes. There is an obvious sense of relief as Mr. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. It's a good thing that the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss, and there will be trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
Mother.
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, he is that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie.
I fucking love that insult. Oh my god. No, I just mean to call him a big weenie. You're a big weenie.
A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
That gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes instructing the movers where they should be and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. How are you doing, Terentia? It goes off without a hitch, and the man is helpful, efficient, and capable with physical labour despite his clean-cut appearance. And yeah, giant weenie. What an insult. I mean to say he's a big weenie. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes from me when he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing. Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
The bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
You going back up here? No. Marianne, don't go up by yourself. Why even bring a box of pot and pans and knives to the attic? That man's ridiculous. There's probably no point in making sense of what he does what he does if he does them just because he can. This game's grammar sometimes. At least it turns out that I don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover probably on Mr. Wright's orders left the box by the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
I managed to hoist it up without too much effort, but the time it takes me to do is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could never in my life imagine coming from a couple like the Wrights.
Mom, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a farm just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True. Dogs are infinitely superior here, of course.
Well, that's not going to make Marianne happy because she loves cats.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess. I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how cute. If you think about it, a cat would be better.
Once I have to agree with Whiskey on this one, though I can live with Mrs. Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really shouldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on the job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possibly soundproofing certain rooms, perhaps bringing it up if they don't realise the lack of it. I really should move on. I don't know whether that went up or not. Not to mention just standing here when I have no reason to loiter just feels wrong. Besides, the magic word here is privacy, and I respect that. Keep it in mind, and I won't have a guilty conscience filled to the brim with secrets of the rich and famous in my hands. Take the stairs 2 steps at a time if I wasn't in danger of getting stabbed by my baggage, and if nobody else was in the foyer. But as Johannes takes the box from me, I only give him a small smile. There is no reason to gossip about the peculiar conversations of his employer. He'd probably heard much odder things coming from them, and he doesn't seem to be a cat or dog person either. No, we're not going down there. No. As soon as I follow him into the kitchen, he raises a hand to stop me.
9. I know you are a very skilled architect, and I have seen your work. But this shall be my kitchen, and I shall fix it according to my wishes. Yeah?
Kind of weird anyone would think that pots and knives are supposed to go anywhere but the kitchen, huh?
I assume he's gotten them confused. It wouldn't be the first time.
Confused? How does that even work? I understand covers, carpets, or even curtains getting mixed up. Hey, I'd even understand pots being mixed up with silver decor. But knives?
Decor? Decor? You mean decor?
Oh, he has a collection of ornamental ones from his father. It takes them everywhere he goes, wherever he moves.
He has a collection of ornamental knives from his dad, and he takes them everywhere he goes.
I guess that makes sense. A bit. Still odd.
He merely shrugs before going back to work. The movers work efficiently when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes, standing in the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go out and help every now and then, but they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realising when they'd done so. Nevertheless, all is well when the butler goes to heating up the leftover bubble and squeak from breakfast and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. Most likely simple in comparison to what he serves to the right, but well done nonetheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
If
It's an idle observation more than anything, my thoughts, as they are preoccupying
there
me.
are any left, one can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them, even my husband, and he's American.
Aw, he's got a husband. I really do hate getting up and close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It is obvious to me that I've got my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard, what I learned about the right couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction, they creep up and fester, crawl and writhe in a way that twists. I hear giggling, delighted and mocking. They creep up, and the sensation of fingers ghosting briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder. It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
Ooh. I thought it was going to be the demon girl as well. But it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again. Ever.
I don't like being scared, though I don't believe in the likes of spooks. Being startled is not on the top list of things Marianne liked. Luckily for him, I have nothing within reach or have gotten a friendly terms with something, like a rolling pin.
What's with that reaction? Are you really scared? Has Johans been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people. Isn't that right, Brother Gurium?
The butler's expression is unreadable. I hardly see any emotion in his face to begin with since I started working for the Wrights, aside from vague amusement. There must have been something there though, judging by Mr. Wright's own contented look. The expression on Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel, because he's an arsehole. But neither of them spoke, even as Johannes leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch.
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
I was just thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children.
You haven't seen a ghoul woman leaping out of a fucking mirror at you.
Timmy,
Oh,
Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place being haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. Hearing, let alone seeing a dead person isn't exactly the symptom of a healthy mind. Sure, it means there would be such things as ghouls and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, there would actually be a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright. You haven't noticed anything weird here?
Simple enough question on the surface. Yeah, I noticed the man stiffen as the question leaves my mouth. I wouldn't have noticed it if I wasn't watching his reaction intently, but in his eyes I see something dangerous.
That depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted?
No.
Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
You never know. Do you want to test it?
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? No, not really. Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
Only if you count you. That teenager would technically qualify as strange, but yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going to go over well
Not that
here.
I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
Oh. There we go.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
Okay.
I think that goes without saying.
The concern he have on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant, smug smirk returns, if a bit subdued. Whatever smarmy remark or innuendo he has at the ready never comes out as voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly for magazines,
It's
newspapers,
Zach!
and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job.
Oh, is this the day that Zach turns up for the photo shoot? 27th. No, 26th. Yeah, the right couple moving in. Zach comes to take the photos.
It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume. As always, Mrs. Wright talks in such kind and cheery fashion no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer too. Hearing them, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least if his small scowl is anything to go by. Is he jealous? Ask if he's alright.
Are you alright there, Whiskey? You're looking like you need a serious drink.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography
I don't even feel sorry for him.
is more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
I'm fine. Just a bit winded from all that moving about. It's been a long day.
And the day's not over yet. So if you can excuse the bloodness, you either shape up to help or ship out back to your room and let us do the rest of the work.
Damn straight. He hesitates, eyes locked firmly on the door that led to the dining hall. Even now, we can still hear as Mrs. Wright and the photographer chit-chat in between shots.
Not my place to say this, but she really does seem to care a lot about you, you know?
There's no need to remind me of that.
Good. Because you're a dick. Strange smile appears on his face before he shuts his eyes and
Tell
sighs.
the workers that you're all dismissed early.
That's nice and all, whiskey. But we really shouldn't just take off. Delays aren't a good thing when it comes to big projects like these. The sooner we tackle certain issues, the better.
And I trust you can take care of these issues another day. Don't make me ask again, Mint. Just tell the others they can go home early, and to not worry, they'll still get paid the remaining hours.
I don't know what prompted this, with the air he's putting on, though. I know better than to meddle and prod further. Besides...
Fine, you're the boss.
Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go while under his roof. Mrs. Wright and the photographer, hi Zach, are still far too busy in conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I don't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing. People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Going to the foyer has me stumble upon the family butler once more, who raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
Yeah, cool. I don't doubt it. My ride back into the city doesn't take too long to get here. Granted, there is some difficulties at first because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde mansion is. He tried to have us hand over GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other techno babble I didn't care about, and the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him it's that haunted mansion over in Anselm village, he knew just the place. And finally headed over, albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about the place giving him the willies. It gives me the willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly, more than my exasperation of whiskey and this project, or wanting all of it to stop. There has been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Searching for her. Something. Loose ends. Fucking bloody loose ends everywhere. I thought I've already moved past this years ago, and it does nothing to help curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And where else do I go to drink? Aye! The Crawl Bar. Tuesdays are for karaoke and Wednesdays, improv. Usually, it's these four guys who do hilarious games. The one with the Irish drinking songs are always a crowd favourite here. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing. And without Cam or Haruna, or any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more this time. And when there's several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing.
Hey! G! Psst! G! Come over here! I need you for something!
It's a good thing that the bartender is a nice fellow. I'd probably have been kicked out of any other places right now, or worse. Push comes to shove, all he would do is give me an easy smile, a shake of his head, and even when he's attending to other customers, just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
He's some Asian guy. Is it Ashton, the only one who's ever referred to as Asian in the entire game? The girls used to be all over him too, but he always turned them away.
I'll be here. You go do that before she falls over.
Asian Joe.
All right. What is it? Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine!
Oh, the drunken
I think
Irish.
That's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
A whine comes from the back of my throat as he pulls my bottle away. I have no hope of getting them back once they're behind the counter. Even in my drunken mind, I don't dare hop over for them. Because what little sense I have left knows I'd sooner take a floor dive than succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. But that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out with my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head, just like I know he would, before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
With no drink and no one really to chat with, I would have gone home or gone to sleep on the bar right there and then. I'm not ready to stand up and try and trek back home just yet.
Same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati.
Not the Illuminati.
So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of dealing dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
Their talk would have been interesting. Their talk would have interested me, would have kept my attention if I gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two fucks about the things that go on around me. All these words are just buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds that is the pub. And it would have stayed that way, perhaps even drowned if I didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy. And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact. Great tipper, if you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping. Why are you asking? He dirty?
Yeah.
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Luke fucking Wright. Fucking whiskey. Even without him around, I still hear about the guy. The absolute fuck. Despite this, I find myself getting up and sauntering over to join them before I pipe up.
Is this smack talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
The name Asian Joe. It is a bit ridiculous.
Private conversation here, lady.
Ugh. There's only amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look ticked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes, she's clean. And she might be able to help you with your, predicament.
Course.
Predicament?
A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need.
Yes.
Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work. Especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11", can't miss me. Unlike Shorty over here. What's with that mad look? You want to dance, boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
Oh yeah, Ashton's like ridiculously small, isn't he? To add insult to injury, I move directly behind him and use the top of his head as an armrest. But when he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet.
Oh, he's now Holmes.
We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of you. But you're still standing after all that, are you? Matt, you see this giantess? She's a legendary regular here. Been treating like there's no tomorrow. I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too. Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy, aren't you? You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne McCulloch. I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that rhymes.
That doesn't rhyme.
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke Wright, right?
He's a weenie.
Or something. Can't really talk about it. I don't even know if I can trust you, even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions then?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking. But seriously, that guy is abso-fucking-lutely frustrating. One moment, he's an absolute dickhead. And then he's acting like an actual decent human being the next. I just can't figure him out. I can't imagine how that pretty wife of his can put up with him. If I were her, I'd dump his flat arse straight up.
Yeah, just because you want to bone down with her, Marianne. And I'm not just saying that because I think Hannah's pretty or anything. Luke's a catch too. They both are. Maybe lay off the beer. But she's Irish, it's what they do. But I really cannot, for the love of all things holy, see how they even work out together.
Luke Wright, have you noticed anything strange about him while you were working with him? Anything peculiar? Of note?
The fact that he's a dickhead.
You're the one being peachy right about now, Holmes. But nah, nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's just like most rich, smarmy arseholes and then some.
A giggle bubbles up as I press my cheeks against the cool countertop with my eyes shutting tight just because. Eventually, cracking one eye open just in case they thought I fell asleep, I grin at Holmes.
So, Holmes, I'm guessing you're some private detective or something. Is it Hannah? Did she pay you to look if he's been cheating or some such?
Because he has been.
Hannah's the wife, right? What about her? How is she?
How is she or how is she? Well and good. Definitely the nicer of the two and sexy as sin to boot. Not a private detective then. Are you from one of them tabloids wanting to know if the Luke Wright doesn't know how to put his pants on right? Pants. I'd take the pants off of...
Here we go. Slipping. I haven't been this drunk in such a long time. It's a miracle it's a miracle I've been coherent as long as I have been right now.
I'm asking you if you've noticed any odd behavior from her.
Odd behavior? What? I wonder how she'd be drunk. I can just imagine her like the giggly sort. What do you think?
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G. She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk. This'll be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me.
Them's fighting words.
Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit.
The wave of despair that comes over the both of them is palpable. If feelings had taste, it'd be bitterer than the beer I'm full of. And it gets me thinking, though thinking doesn't get me far with too much shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something.
Dark side.
As ocht day! No wonder Mr. Wright likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke.
Oh, Google. As ocht day. English-Irish dictionary. It's basically for fuck's sake. In layman's terms.
Maybe that Santos girl
even.
is really onto something, eh? Suspicious shite, I'm telling ya. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders and everything starts to spin. I quickly slap his hands out of the way the best I can and send him in the foulest look I can muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me upchucking on your pretty hair. But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from BRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails. and we thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that. You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey, that's Luke fucking right, you get me? And the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere. When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I?
No, you just fucking smashed.
Anyway, just like I said, in that man...
Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
And he's really pale. Paler than before, at least. I see the gears turning in his head on overtime. Suddenly he shoves a card in my hand. On it, his name, Ashton Frey, and his number. He has second thought as he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady. But listen to me. If something comes up, don't do anything rash.
She's not your type because you're in love with Isabella.
If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible. You understand me? That's 99...
I know what the damn emergency number is.
999.
Right, 999. Good. Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
The guy is quick on his feet, already up and at him as soon as the number leaves his lips. Watching him as he maneuvers through the crowd of the pub goers is enough to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door, throws us a smile, and that's all we get before he's gone, just like that.
What about your drink, boy? I'll go put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I'll put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
Was falling asleep in a pub. Mumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze off on the spot, pressed on the counter. Already I dread the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. Go away!
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie? Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Not that I can get much sleep to begin with. Oh my god. Creepy shit. Do people ever have the feeling they're working on something they really enjoy, but still it eventually tires them out? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Though moments like these make all the hard work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned.
Yeah, because she's wanting to make that into a baby's, like a kid's room, because as we found out during Zach's story, I think it was through Zach, that she's pregnant.
I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
But Luke doesn't know, and Luke doesn't like the idea of kids. We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on the client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, in between my exasperation for Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candle at both ends. Can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead. I have to keep reminding myself that, burying my feelings as deep as they buried her body, 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead, when I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are usually as complicated, if not more, than ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting.
He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Yes, of course. He's not cheating on you like he almost did with me. It's even more complicated when the living in question is a pair of rich and famous socialites way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being a relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband.
This is a reflection of your own relationship, isn't it, Hannah?
But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Story update. Okay.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone.
Yeah, because
we shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
I already made this decision during Hannah's story. Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and I answer to the best of my abilities. Without realising it, I'm already pouring out the part of me that I thought were long gone. I'd like to believe my words will be of some help to Mrs. Wright. If I'm honest though, they are of some help to me, like some weight has been taken off of my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party?
The party?
Oh, you really must, Marianne.
The weight of what happened to her hasn't left me yet. Did it? Oh, because she saw her completely flustered because she saw Lorraine. One sec. Yeah, I have to mute the mic whenever the door shuts because it just fucking booms straight through, so maybe.
I'll try to stay in chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I change that.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
If I...
Certainly.
Oh, the Irish lilt.
You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive.
So Nathan's just asked, have you not finished this yet? This game is like a 30-hour game. I welcome you to show me how to get good. The man who refused to read anything. Where's the skip button? The guy who refused to read even a slight note during Layers of Fear. I do. As this is clearly evidence. I've not been playing it that long. Been... today? 3 hours. Live, 2 hours 57. Dickhead. For those of you who didn't hear that, oh, maybe you're just that boring with a really shitty smile. You know, friends. In a bit. There we go. Oh. Anyway.
Because believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
No, I shouldn't dwell on the dead. I should just callously forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. And now how other people see me. They see me as someone who's obsessed with her craft, that she would easily miss things like a party for it. Outside the parlour, people hurry here and there in preparation for the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles, not daring to slack off while they work on for what is probably the most powerful couple in Luxbourne. Why are you going back to the kitchen? I make it to the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. As this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet, that is worthy of being called a quest. I'm not acting as Mary-Ann McCullough, the professional interior designer, when I chose to lie about being too busy for a party. I'm Mary-Ann McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 points in charisma. Side note, as someone who plays D&D, an 8 points in wisdom for a cleric is literally the worst cleric known to man. Everything they do is based on wisdom. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might even face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing. Oh, is she going down to have a look in the mirror? And who'd have thought it that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally.
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails!
Schnell!
We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from the cellar into the kitchen, tailed by a couple of others. People who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the hatch, by a trap door. It almost looks like he's going to throw me out for being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions to the others to disperse and familiarise themselves with the surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing my entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
The look he gives me, as he says this, is most chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. Difficult opponent to beat with only 9 points of wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet.
She only has
I actually need to go into the wine cellar.
She only has an 8 in dexterity as well.
Place.
Like, you rolled shit for your stats, love.
So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the Bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and a disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out, but...
Please, it's really important.
Why are you going back to a mirror which showed like a horrific ghoul girl?
15 minutes. 9. 10 minutes.
Is
Any
it 15,
longer,
9
I'll
or
pull you
10?
out of there myself. The Bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
Yeah, I'm ghoul hunting. He steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back. The cellar greets me ominous as I descend. The space feels smaller with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror... Hold on! So this is the... Right, I'm going to have to really delve into my mind here. But as far as I remember, on the day of the party, which is this day... It's this day in game. Hannah, at the end of her story, which was the party itself, heard someone crying and sobbing from the hatch. But she also heard the crying and sobbing 2 days before. The 2 days before she didn't go down. For this one, she had the option to go downstairs. I wonder if I'd have gone downstairs on that time, which is this day in game, I'd have seen Marianne. Because I just assumed it was a ghoul, but clearly Marianne's down here. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back to mind. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunching beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind are now nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before. And it made a downright mess with a red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. And yeah, he seems very young to be the butler, but you know, the Wrights, as far as I remember, aren't that old. So I've got Hannah's 31. Can't help but think this, despite the easy logical explanation that's come to my mind, only because of what I'm about to do. It's merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up at the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think that the last thing it can show a person their deepest and most desperate desires, and then twist its image so dark. What I'd seen that day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I had only seen her here within its frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasting away in front of it, enamored, and how many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in this darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There is no sudden surge of power and I'm not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is, a mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all some sort of feverish dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinating such things? Either way, just going here on some crazy obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me a trip to the doctor's. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes, in the hopes that something would change, I turn around to leave. I can just go back upstairs like nothing ever happened, and perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres. Then go home and collect myself. Besides, Mrs. Wright is expecting me and I'm...
Going to leave me again then, are you?
I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. I'm just hearing her again, desperately delusional, and I look back to see nothing. I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around my wrist pull me, I look back in shock. Oh, she's normal. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? The second is, Lorraine? Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't know what to say, and I can only stare at her in wonder. She stands there in the mirror with only her arm extended outward for my sake. Look at the hand still holding my wrist. And when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so that our hands are intertwined, fingers weaved together. Seeing her there and feeling her touch meant I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplainable this is all to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We can be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing ever happened. But that would be would be all a great big lie, wouldn't it?
What? Cat got your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this were some magic portal that could bring back the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a young teenager while I'm already a grown woman, it serves no other reason than to break the illusion that blinds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind the mirror. This is real. If this isn't some sort of delusion, then why can she only exist behind the glass?
You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy. But at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened to you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me a peculiar look, and before my eyes she moves to step out of the mirror. In a turn, I wrench my hand from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible, but whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
Here comes the change.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No, I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
Deep hurt crosses her face, and it just breaks my heart in two seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you. As long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
Girl, run. That was the plan. Came down here looking for her, for closure. This isn't just closure, this is something else entirely. What is with that smile? I didn't think I would be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave or do I stay? Oh shit! I'd imagine the stay basically kills Marianne. But then again, I need to move on. She could just attack us. Yeah. I need to move on. Closure, that's what I came here for. That's rather intense music. Whatever this is, it might as well just be a devil's trick, and I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first, for fear of anger, for angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it up to my lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along. I step back into the mirror, only until her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself. I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thoughts of being with the dead did not agree with me, not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife? That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did, what I didn't do.
I'm so scared that this is going to change and it's going to catch me off guard. She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand from her. And going by the look of anger on her face, and anger that runs cold, she did not like the fact that I'm not some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chooses to give me. Guilt had run my life, and it might have very well ended it. because I deserved
But
it.
what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whoever or whatever this shadow is, my gut tells me she's not Lorraine. Yeah, I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Don't you dare deny it! It was your fault!
Because I loved you more than I dared to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry, enraged in fact. It's been years since I last saw that face. Even now, the memory of it still etched deeply in my mind. The hurt, the tears, the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I'm about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. From there, I take a bottle and pray to all the saints I can remember, for all my sins, for every hurtful word I've uttered, for what I have driven to her to do that day, what I forced her into.
What are you doing?
She's gonna fucking smash the mirror. I do it without thinking twice. Quickly, before I can hesitate, I grab a bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Shards of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying everywhere as Lorraine's scream echo in the cellar. Bitter. Searing. Like every wounding accusation she hurled at me. They never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move on from them. From her. Live my life as I should, free from the burden. Her burden. Because the Lorraine I know, the real one, the person I loved, will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done. Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
I take some time to compose myself, breathing in and out, stamping down on the tremors still racking my hands, straightening out my jacket and fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling my normal self. This would probably be easier to do so with a mirror, but I likely won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat. Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
Where's the scare? Yeah, one last time, the shattered glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Turning around to leave, and for good this time, the uneasy smile on my face as I see Lorraine whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying, but you should know an 8 in charisma is not enough to turn undead.
She advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within her reach. Despite my earlier bravado, I didn't think she'd be able to exist at all without the mirror. Can you blame me though? It's not like I'm an expert on the supernatural.
You shouldn't be.
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please. Just get out of my head and leave me be.
I'm trying to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. What the fuck is this? I fall on my back and the door slams shut behind me. In a daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. On the other side of the wall, some sort of secret passage perhaps, an underground tunnel. It's a sex dungeon. It also provides that the oddities in the mansion's floor plans are a lot more than just little discrepancies. I expect Lorraine to jump out at me from the darkness at any time. A breeze blowing through the tunnel has me relieved though at the idea that there is still a way to escape should that happen. That is a better way. That is way better than being trapped underground with only God knows what that is. A funny thought comes to mind as I start walking to where the exit might be. I think about how Mrs. Wright would be so disappointed if I didn't show up at the party. I imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for me breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johannes' reaction comes to mind, though I don't really know with that guy. One thing's for sure is that I would be calling Cam and Haruna for a drink as soon as I get out of here. Here's the spoops. That noise has me wary. A ghastly thing, a corpse of a woman leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body, is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
Don't piss it off! I flinch as the thing twitches. Ah! Fuck off. No. As soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. I break into a run. I try to keep running no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, and even when I look back I see nothing of her anymore, but I can still hear her. The scampering of her feet, the words she tried to form with a bloodied mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
There's a split second where I know that that thing is right behind me, a strange sensation creeping over my limbs and the presence looms over me, and then suddenly, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by the hair and pulled back. Still, I struggle up and I'm thrown to the side like some ragdoll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is the only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me.
My body hurts as I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's only dread seeing how she followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further in the cell that I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne. Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why?
What are you?
Why is there a video camera here? Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before, and with that same gruesome grin as it takes a step forward towards the cell, towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door cell slams shut and it just stands there staring. Shouts for help ringing out in the tunnel, but none of them are coming for me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens as I'm being fooled by the image of Lorraine and the thought of being trapped down here. So then, where?
Help me! Help me! Oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl?
Is that the same note? What?
Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here.
What the fuck?
Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though. It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea. Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That's where his kid would panic.
That sounds like Hannah.
What? Spit it out! Behind you!
There, in the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life and a video being played back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying attention to it when my life is on the line. When the ghost doesn't move and the teenagers' mocking shouts of help me filled the cell, I just had to watch. And what I had seen, students judging by the St. Goretti uniform they were holding.
The letter.
And that's the thing. And that thing, the woman, she... Wait. The way that flickered then looked exactly like, in the foyer, there's two big paintings hanging there. It looked like what I can only assume is Charlotte Ermengarde. What? That's where Marianne's story ends. Holy fucking Christ. I'm just seeing. Hold on. I'm seeing if there's a picture of the painting anywhere. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I believe there's a lot which hang on the stats of relationships between characters. But it doesn't seem like there was any way that could have been resolved. If we go to Marianne, Isabella was nowhere near. Luke, it's still a rocky relationship, and Hannah's the only other one, but she was preoccupied. I think the end of the game, like the actual, like the final ending after what appears to be Luke's side of the story, which we're already past halfway of the game now. I think at the end of Luke's story, whatever relationships are there kind of merge into one, and that creates the ending what you have. Because I'd imagine a game like this probably has multiple endings, because all those multiple choice questions, like I say multiple choice, that if like the A or B choices really change how the relationship with characters is. So if you'll see with like Hannah, my relationship with Zachary stayed completely neutral because one of my decisions to keep teasing him completely tanked the relationship, but everything I did with Zachary managed to bring it back up. So if I'd have chosen the right one with Zach, it'd probably be even higher. And you'll see as well, like, relationship with Marianne, completely peaked. If you go to Marianne, it's completely peaked. So the two characters themselves have like a linked relationship bar. It's not like an independent relationship bar. That's just fucking crazy, though. I didn't expect that kind of ending from Marianne's story. That was a very cut, like clean cut, just like, oh yeah, she's now trapped. Done. None of the other endings have been like that. They've all had kind of a resolution to it. I mean, Isabella's was a little bit weird that she was trapped underneath a desk while the ghoul was stood in front of her and it goes, oh please, I hope you don't kill me, then switched. But we see Isabella on later dates, which is an interesting thing. This is where Marianne McCullers' whole thing is. Do we see Marianne on any of the other days? No. The talk got interrupted by a horrible clicking and the cry of a woman in the wine cellar. So that instance, what I was talking about, is technically what would have been tomorrow. Yeah, that's a really weird thing as well. Staying with Lorraine seemed like the bad choice, so I chose to not, and I still had to stay with Lorraine. And stuff like, I wonder if those cells which are underneath there clearly have a purpose. I wonder if this ghoul has always brought people back into that cell. It was some kind of former resident. As I said, it kind of looked... I'm going to have to find a picture of it. Oh yeah, the music's going to stop for a second. Images. So yeah, you might have seen it in like the briefest of glimpses when she was shifting her image. Display capture. It looked like she was shifting her image to look like that. Blonde hair, old clothing with a distinctive bow on the front. Do the same with this one. These are the two previous owners of the house. But as we know, the ghoul girl can make herself look like Lorraine. She has the ability to take on other forms. She's even been able to possess the kid Kylie. So is it just a weird instance that she might have just shifted into a different form to try and catch other people off guard? But she definitely changed into that. Weird. Why display capture? Hold on. I'm gonna have to clip that later and have a look back on it. Because that was actually crazy. But, unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. I definitely wanted to finish off Marianne's story and not leave it, like, hanging anywhere. But there's going to be people coming around to my house soon, and I don't want to be the antisocial arsehole. I hope you can understand. As much as I love doing the stream, love being with you guys, if there's people in my house, I've kind of got to be that guy. But we'll be picking up with this tomorrow. I am so interested to see how this goes, and I want to see, because there's still a few days where we haven't seen anything within those days. I want to see whether we can save Marianne. So I'd imagine there's some kind of way to save Marianne.